All right, so welcome to our third Ambition Academy call. It is March 20th, and thank you guys again for taking the time out of your night to be here. Really cannot stress the importance of getting on these calls. Like, they really are business calls. It would be like if you had a meeting assigned that you had to go to for your full-time job, if you have one right now, and you didn't show up, right? Of course you wouldn't blow it off. Like, you'd make sure to be there. So it's really awesome that you guys are making these calls a priority in your business and that you're taking the initiative to schedule them into your calendar and treat this like a business and really be an incredible CEO right from the get-go, taking that responsibility and ownership, because that is a huge, huge indicator of how far you will go with this business. So before I get this started, I wanted to kind of give you a little gist of how the night's going to go. We are going to start out by talking about getting vulnerable on Facebook or Instagram, whatever social media you use, really getting vulnerable on there and sharing the real you, just being real and authentic. Because sometimes when you start out as a coach, like I know for me when I first started, I had kind of like a perfectionist complex anyways, where I feel like everything has to be perfect, but you realize that in this business, like that will not attract people to you. And the best thing that you can do is to show the mess and to show the struggle of your life. So that way people can relate to you and they'll be like, she's real. Like, she's going through exactly what I'm going through, versus painting the picture like everything is perfect all the time. We know that that's just not real life. And people will look at those things and be like, that's not real life. There's no way. And so that's why one of my coaches is on here now, Courtney. If you guys don't follow her, Courtney Bordeaux, she's one of my leaders. And she does an awesome job of that, guys. Just telling it like it is. Being real, being authentic, being herself. And she's so relatable, and people flock to her because of that, because she's just herself. And that's what you want to do. At the end of the day, you just want to be you. You want to share the good. You want to share the struggle. You want to share, what's going wrong, what's working for you, tips and tricks, all. You want to share a mix of it all. You don't have to share every detail of your life. This is where people kind of, as new coaches, they hear get vulnerable, like, oh gosh, like share my struggle. There's obviously, like, the good thing about this business is you can pick and choose what you want to share with others. When I say get vulnerable and I share and I say that, I mean, like, pick little breadcrumbs, like little nuggets of things to share with other people. There's certain things that I don't share with social media because I just don't want people knowing about it. It's too personal to me. But that doesn't mean that I don't get vulnerable on Facebook. So you want to keep that in your mind too, as you're sharing bits and pieces about your life every single day. Really go through your social media at the end of every day, at the end of even the week especially, and just look back through the different things that you have been posting on social media. You want to have a really good mix of, you're sharing about your health and fitness journey, you're sharing tips, you're adding value, but you're also sharing the struggle. You're sharing, oh yay, Dana's on. You're sharing, whoop, whoop. You're sharing that struggle that you're going through. You're sharing the complete shit fit that your kids just had, and like you feel like you're going to lose your mind. You're sharing the struggle too. So that's a really good way to look at it, is to, at the end of every week, go back and just look at the different kinds of posts and make tallies next to them. Be like, did I share anything maybe about the personal development that I have been reading and learning about? Taking something from your personal development and sharing that is a really good way to add value. So did I do that? Did I share my workouts and talk about how they're helping me? Did I talk about my meal prep? Did I talk about the food that I'm eating? Did I talk about my support group? Did I talk about the coaching opportunity? Did I share struggles in my life? Right? You want to have a good combination of them all. And when you write them all down and you go through and put tallies next to them, you'll see kind of what you need to be adding more of. But you want to have a good piece to it. So Dana, just to catch you up, I was just sharing just a little bit about just sharing, being vulnerable and sharing bits and pieces about your journey that are kind of hard to share, that will help inspire other people, and that those posts and you can add to this too, Dana. But those post guys that are the most hardest to make, where you're just like, this makes me so nervous. I don't know if I should really press enter on the screen. Like, those are the ones where you'll get like tons of likes and tons of comments, and you'll get messages from people like, thank you so much for sharing that. I had no idea that you're struggling with the same thing I'm struggling with. That totally helped me. And it's, when you do that, it's so freeing, because then you realize I'm not alone either. There's plenty of other people out there going through the same thing. So I don't know if you want to add to that, Dana.
Of course I do. Hey guys, sorry, bedtime has been a struggle. To add to this, okay, so I typically either hear one of two things. It's either I don't have a story, or I have almost too much of a story. And I think that there's an art of learning how to share parts of your story that are relevant to the business and to impacting other people and connecting to other people. And I can tell you that I'm on the side of the fence of like, I have so much of a story that I was like, holy God, I feel like it's like writing a woe is me life journal to start sharing this kind of stuff. I lost my dad young. I struggled with an eating disorder. I was hit by a boat propeller when I was 16. I've had a lot of trauma to my body and a lot of physical injury. I've struggled with anxiety and depression. I came out of an abusive relationship. Like, there are so many parts of my story that tie into why I love Beachbody and this community and the tools that we have and the friendships I've made and the personal development and all that kind of stuff. And I just think that it's important to note that whatever you are sharing, don't think about this as like using Facebook as like you're venting, like, let's just air my dirty laundry and throw all my skeletons out of the closet onto social media, but thinking of it more as like, who am I trying to influence with what I'm sharing, and what is my intent of sharing it, helped me a lot to kind of navigate like what details were enough and what were too much. And just really remembering that it's emotions that are going to connect to people. So even if they can't see themselves in your story because they haven't specifically experienced that themselves, they're going to be able to feel whatever emotion it is that you felt, whether it was guilt or shame or stress or anxiety or struggle or even good feelings, but I think that trying to kind of hone in on what those feelings were for you and why it is different for you now, and sharing a bit of where you came from and why things are different now and why this has helped you do that, whether that's with, fitness, nutrition, community, the coaching opportunity, whatever that is, but kind of like where you were beforehand, how you felt and how you feel now, and why this has helped you do that, really kind of helps you share that story effectively. And I just also have to repeat what Catherine said about the scariness of it, because I think that we are kind of raised, at least most people, I think, and just in the culture we're in, to kind of hide our stories that we're shameful about, or hide the things that we're insecure about, or the things that we don't like, or the things we feel guilt or struggle. And I think that that's truly what connects us as people, is it helps people see that you are human and that everybody goes through shit. And it's, we always have an opportunity to overcome, to get better, to change our mindset, to change our lifestyle. And with those vulnerable posts, I can tell you that when I saw a shift in my following and my connection with people is when I stopped being surface, because surface was really easy to do. It was like I would post a picture of my sweaty selfie and say like, I crushed this workout and I feel awesome and whatever. And realistically, like, I had a really shitty day as a single mom, and I had emotionally abusive texts coming through my phone or whatever. And like, the more that I gained the courage to really share more about why I was falling in love with this, the more people could put themselves in my shoes and say, if she can do this, then I can too. And that's really what you want, is to, we're sharing for hope. We're not sharing for pain. Someone said that to me recently, and it really stuck out to me, that I was like, you're sharing pain that you've had or something you've been through, right? But your intention is to give people hope. So making sure that you're always putting that spin on it is really important. And if it makes you nervous, send that to your coach, send it to your success partner, send it to another coach, have them read it over, see how you feel about it, and then close your eyes and hit the post button and just watch what happens. I have a new coach, not a new coach. She's not new anymore, but when she was new, literally used to be like, I'm going to drink a shot of Fireball before I post this on Facebook. And it was like a joke in our new coach training forever that it was like, if you're scared, just drink Fireball. You'll be fine. But the first couple times you do it, it is terrifying. And I promise that the more you do it, the more courageous you get. So that's my 2 cents.
Sweet. And it's true, guys, like everybody has a story, and your story is not supposed to be like Dana's, or is supposed to be like mine or your coach's or anybody's on the team. And whether you realize it or not, like you do have a story, because for a long time I thought to myself, like, what the heck is my story? Like, really? But then, like, when I really step back and think about it, it was the fact that I lived my entire life, guys, not even knowing really who the heck I really was as a person, because I never really felt like I could be who I really was meant to be, because I was such a people pleaser. Always walking on eggshells, never really doing what I wanted to do and making the choices I wanted to make because it was going to upset this person or ruffle feathers over here. And I always wanted to fit in. I wanted everybody to like me. I never wanted any kind of tension or anything like that. And we were in massive amounts of debt, which, like Dana mentioned earlier, the shame, oh my God, like no one knew. For the longest time, we had that a hidden secret. You would have never guessed ever that we had no money in our savings account and almost $40,000 on our credit card, and that we were sinking $1,000 a month. And honestly, this is why this business has been one of the biggest blessings in our life, is because I honestly know, like in my heart, I would never, ever, ever have picked up a book or done any kind of self-help or personal development if it weren't for this opportunity. Like, if it weren't for coming into this, because I thought that was stupid before, guys. My husband used to read all this stuff years ago, and I used to make fun of him. Why would you waste your time doing that? That's what I would say. If it weren't for me getting into this and this being taught that if you want to grow and you want to help other people, you have to help yourself. You have to continue to grow. I would have never, got those books on Audible. I would have never read that. I would have never been able to improve myself and grow myself into a much more confident person where I can just be unapologetically myself. And of course, the things that you're going to be working on, guys, and the things that you're going to be sharing, there's still always going to be an ongoing struggle. It's not going to be completely gone away. It's going to be something that you need to work on all the time. And so when you share those pieces with people, like Dana said, it's not you looking back and dwelling on the past. That's not what this is for. This is about you sharing what has happened, more of like a learning experience, and then looking ahead to the future. And that's the kind of stuff that really hits home to people when you can get people to feel, emotion. That's when you know that you've written a really great post that is, like Dana mentioned, beyond just surface level stuff. And a lot of this, guys, like, don't freak out. This comes with time. I didn't do my first vulnerable post where I shared about how much debt we were in until I was like 6 months into the business, because I was just so nervous. And that was my fears. What are people going to think of me? That's how I lived my whole life. What's this person going to think of me? Are they going to want to be friends with me still? Are they going to be disappointed in me? I don't want anybody to be disappointed in me. I mean, these are the things that I have had to live with my entire life. But it was because of this business that's helped me grow to be the person that I am today and continue to grow. You never stop. So hopefully that information helped you guys.
Kathy, I have to add to that real quick.
Yes.
I just have to say, if there is something specific that you really struggle with, that, like, reach out to one of the coaches on your team that's been around for a while, because guaranteed they have struggled with the same thing, or someone has, and they can kind of give you some words of encouragement of what's helped them overcome it, or a book they've read, or a podcast they've listened to. And just also with the whole personal development thing, because I too was like, I don't need that when I started. I was like, I don't need that. That's crazy talk. And then I read a book and I was like hooked. And if you know me now, I'm like a walking, talking PD book, like book nerd, hardcore. But think about your personal growth. It's not just an investment in yourself. It's an investment in your family, in your relationships, in your parenting, in your job in your day-to-day life, but it's an investment in the people that you're going to be leading as a coach, and in the people that you're going to eventually mentor as a coach too. And if you look at it with the sense of like, if I can overcome, or I can learn something, or I can develop a certain skill or a mindset, thing that I've struggled with, then I can teach somebody else how to do that. And what everybody does with it is their own, but it's like putting these tools of knowledge in your toolbox that you can pull from when somebody comes to you and says like, I'm struggling with self-doubt, or I'm struggling with whatever. You can say like, here, this is what's helped me get through that. And that's when I really feel like that level of personal growth becomes more than just about yourself. And that's a really powerful thing.
Did you have anything, Laura, that you wanted to add to that about getting vulnerable? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, there she is.
I could do a 6-hour call on vulnerability. I would recommend, if that's something you struggle with, that you read the book called The Gift of Imperfections by Brené Brown. That was like a life-changing book for me in terms of shame and vulnerability and self-love and worthiness and all of that fun stuff that we like to pretend we don't feel. But that's it, Kathy. Are we ready to talk about objection?
Oh, yeah, sweet. All right. So we are going to be talking about the most important topic ever right now, which is overcoming objections, right? How many of you guys have been talking to people, but you're not getting anybody actually signed up? Like, let's just see a show of hands, right? It's because they're throwing objections at you, right? Like, they're saying all these different things to you. So I'm going to kind of just lay out a couple of huge tips, and then I'm going to turn it over to Dana, and she's going to hit this home for you guys. But this is where you're going to want to take notes. She's going to hit it home. So here's the thing about objections, guys. Number one, you're going to hear them all the time. It is totally normal. It's part of the business. And after a while, you do realize that you're going to just continue to hear it's the same objections over and over again. I don't have the time. I don't have the money. I don't think I'd be good at that. I'm not a good salesperson. I'm not in shape. I don't even look like a health and fitness coach. You're going to hear the same ones over and over again. It's going to be like clockwork, okay? There's only so many different objections that you can get from people. And we hear them too all the time. Dana, myself, Laura, your leader, your coach, we hear them all the time too. So it's part of the business. But a few huge indicators of how well you are going to be able to overcome them is going to come down to what I feel are these 4 things. And Dana and Laura can add to this too when I'm done. Number one, these are the things that you probably are going to want to write down right now. One of the huge indicators of how well you're going to be able to overcome these objections is how much belief you personally have in the programs and the products and in the business opportunity. The second one is confidence in your wording. And I'm going to kind of give just an example of each one of these once I go through them. So confidence in your wording. The third one is how well you can overcome these objections is going to be how well you can talk back to them by using feel, felt, and found. And I'm going to explain what that means in a second. And the fourth one is just practice. Practice, practice, practice. Just like everything else in life, if you want to get good at it, if you want to master it, talking to people takes a lot of practice and it takes time to master. That's why it's so important that you do this every single day. This simple task, do it every single day. And also write down the word patience with that number 4, because at the end of the day, sometimes people just aren't ready. And you could have the best response back to somebody when they throw that objection at you, and they're just simply just not ready. So a couple of quick examples here for each of those bullet points, each of those 4 bullet points is this. So number 1, when I'm talking about how much belief you have in the programs and the products, you're going to hear all the time, right? Shakeology is too expensive. Do you hear that? Have you heard that yet? It's way too much money for a protein shake. Well, ask yourself this question. Do you think it's too expensive? Honestly, right? Do you think that Shakeology is too expensive? Because if you think it's too expensive and you don't think it's worth it and you think it's too expensive, then chances are when you're talking to people, they're going to sense that, they're going to feel that. I personally think it's cheap. I think it is a ridiculous deal that this shake replaces one of my meals every single day and is packed with all that nutritional value, all those superfoods. And I'll tell people that. It's so cheap. It's unbelievable what you are getting for an entire month. It's crazy. Like, I literally say that to people. And belief also comes from you committing 150% to a program. Like, really 150% committing to a program from start to finish. Because at the end of the day, the coaches who go on to build the best businesses are the ones who get that belief from completing a program and seeing the results. I know that's why I was like, let's sign me up for coaching, because 9 years ago I did the original P90X and it got Nick and I into the best shape of our lives back then. So I already have that belief in the program. Do you have that belief in the program? Maybe you're just starting out now and it's your very first Beachbody program. Whatever you do, make sure you commit to it, because then it's easy to bring people on board. So much easier, because you know it works and you know there's nothing else better out there than what you're doing now. Okay. The second one, with confidence in your wording. What I'm talking about this is you want to be confident, right? When you're talking to people, sometimes I hear people say, like, apologizing for reaching out to them. Like, I'm really sorry to bother you. Or they'll say something like, I know it's a lot of money, but it's really worth it. Like, no, no. That's not showing confidence. That's really showing that you're unsure and you're wishy-washy. You know, you have to be confident in your wording when you're talking to them. Oh my gosh, this is the best thing out there. You are going to love our support accountability group. It really is the key to reaching your goals. Like, you need this in your life. Let's get you started. That is confidence. You can't help but keep it from other people, and they can feel that through the screen. You can't fake it, okay? And again, that confidence kind of rolls through from you having that belief in the programs and the products, all right? I'm going to give you an example of this. I had this cleaning lady come to our house this weekend because I wanted a quote, because I was like, I need to start delegating some more things off. We need a house cleaner, okay? So she came to the house, and I was like, it's going to be so much money, because I'm thinking about what it was when we were back in Massachusetts, and now I'm thinking, this is going to be so ridiculously high, I bet. And she comes to the house, she walks all around, she looks at it all, and I was like, so what are you thinking? What do you think, you know, what price are you looking at? And she looked at me, and instead of saying, like, with pure confidence of what the price was, she's like 150, is that okay with you? And I was like, damn, you should have been like 250. Like, that's what I thought she was going to say. But instead, and I was like, sweet, I got a deal. I mean, she was just like, she clearly did not believe in how well she could clean houses and that she was worth that price. It's exactly like that when you're talking to people. You can't be like, well, it's kind of a lot, but it's so worth it. You're going to get great prices. It's a 150. I know that's a lot, but like, forget it. Like, that's not going to work. So just make sure you're confident in your wording. The third one, when I'm talking about feel, felt, found, is if you hear somebody, like, for example, say to you, I don't have the money for this, right? Relate back to yourself. I guarantee these objections that you're hearing is exactly the same things that you told your coach back in the day, whenever that was, of why you couldn't coach. I told my coach, there's no way that I could coach because I don't have money. We have $35,000 worth of credit card debt. I'm still going to drive-thrus, getting Dunkin' Donuts coffees left and right. Like, it's ridiculous. And I just don't have the money for it. So when I talk to people and they tell me that they don't have the money, I say, listen, I completely understand how you feel. I know what you mean when you think that you don't have the money for it. I felt the exact same way 4 years ago when my coach wanted me to join her support group. But what I found was that I actually was spending X amount of dollars every single day, which amounted to X amount of dollars each week, on Dunkin' Donuts coffees. And half the time they sucked. And what I found is that I'm actually saving myself money by drinking this shake every single day, because now I'll also cut the grocery bill a little bit. I don't need to buy all that breakfast food because this is my breakfast now. So I totally know what you mean. and just go in, and that's what you do. Feel, felt, found. Dunkin' Donuts. I know. But not for nothing, Dunkin' Donuts suck down here in Florida. You have to go to Starbucks. They only make them good up in Massachusetts. And the last piece I'm going to give you is with the practice piece. Practice this every single day. Don't worry about being perfect. You're going to totally mess it up. You're going to say the wrong thing here or there. You're going to learn from it. It's no big deal. Just be willing to learn from your mistakes. And when you talk to people, really, I want you to remember that you are a coach. You are a coach. It is your job to inspire and motivate these people to get started on themselves and to put themselves first instead of putting themselves on the back burner. So if you're talking with somebody and you're getting their goals right up front and they're interested, then all of a sudden they start backpedaling and say, I can't do it because of this. It is your job to step in and be like, listen to me. You need this in your life. You just told me that you need to lose 30 pounds and that you feel like crap about yourself and that you can't fit into your pants from whatever 3 months ago. You need to do this, and I'm going to be with you every single step of the way. Trust me. Give it 30 days. Get in our support and accountability group. Let me help you. We'll get you drinking the shake. We'll get you on a nice health and nutrition plan. We'll get you pressing play every day. And at the end of 30 days, you are going to love the way that you feel about yourself, the way that you think about yourself when you look in the mirror, and the way that you're changing, and the way that you're changing with your body. You're going to love it, and you're going to wish that you started sooner. So let's get you started. What flavor shake would you like? You're going to just be bold about it because people are nervous, guys. So backing down when people tell you that, they can't do it because of X, Y, and Z, like I don't have the time, or I don't have the money, or I really want to do it, but, and you being like, all right, fine, no big deal. Like, no, you got to step in, and you're not going to be able to get every single person. But I mean, come on. If you had a coach, a real coach working with you, and they say, you know what, I'm tired today. I don't really feel like working on my goals. It doesn't really matter that I'm in all this debt and I got into this business opportunity hoping to turn it around. And your coach was like, you know what, fine, totally check out. You focus on you. That would suck, right? Your coach is going to be the one to be like, you're doing this. You're not stopping. We're doing this together. Pull yourself up by your bootstraps and keep freaking going. Anyways, that was what I had to say. And then after a while too, last little blurb here, I took a note on this. After a while, guys, you're going to realize that you're going to get so much confidence in yourself with everything, business, programs, products, with how you talk to people. The objections are really going to become less and less. You'll still get them, but you'll notice that they will not be as many as you get when you first start out, because people are just going to hear that confidence and feel that excitement and energy in your posts, in your messages, in the way you talk about this. And they're not even going to question it. They're going to know that they need it in their life because they're going to see you smiling and happy and energetic and loving life. They're going to be like, sign me up for that, whatever she's drinking, because I need some of that in my life. And it's not Captain Morgan. It's Shakeology.
Drink the Kool-Aid. Drink the Kool-Aid.
Drink the Kool-Aid, guys. All right, Dana, I'm going to stop.
I love it. That's all so true. And I have to kind of reiterate some of that. And I have a few more things. And I know that I said I would address the actual objections that you commented the other night because I love slaying objections. So the first thing that I have to say that's kind of repetitive is your confidence is so key. And that I want you to remember, do not take it personally when you get an objection. It does not mean you're a shitty coach. It does not mean that you have a shitty challenge group. It does not mean that you can't, give them an amazing experience and fitness programs and Shakeology is awesome. Do not take objections or people telling you no, or no, that's not for me personally. I remember somebody telling me really early on in the business that you needed to have a thick skin. And I can tell you that that's 100% true for a billion reasons. But having a thick skin and being really confident in who you are as a coach and what you have to offer people with this lifestyle, which goes along with that belief in what we do, where you become rock solid and you're just kind of like, it's only a matter of time before someone is going to say yes, or before someone watches me long enough to trust me that I am legit and that I do care and that I want to help them to where they come around. And the other side of that is that some people won't want to be a part of what you do, and that's okay too. There's a lot of things out there that people do that other people have zero interest in, right? And it doesn't mean like you don't have to save the entire planet just because you love what you do. Your job is to find the people who need your help, the people who are willing, the people who want it, the people that are going to run with you and fall in love with it just like you. So don't take it personally. And one of the I don't even have any idea where I heard this, but I just love it so much. And that's the coffee mindset. I probably love it because I love coffee, but the coffee mindset of like, so you go into a diner and you sit down at the table, right? And the waitress is walking around with her 2 coffee pots. She's got regular and she's got decaf, and she goes to every table, table after table, all day, day in, day out. Would you like coffee? Would you like regular decaf? Would you like a refill? Do you want coffee? Do you want coffee? She goes from table to table to table. She doesn't care if people tell her no. She doesn't get offended if they don't like coffee. She doesn't care if they don't want a refill, right? She doesn't care if all they want is water or tea, right? She doesn't take it personally or think, oh, I have shitty coffee, or I'm a bad waitress, or I should quit my job. She just thinks, okay, cool, they don't like coffee, and on to the next. And she happily goes about and asks everybody that comes in, do they want coffee? It's kind of what coaching's like. Not everybody's going to like you. Not everybody's going to like coffee. Not everybody's going to want to be a part of what you do, but the people that love coffee, if you're a coffee lover, you know what I'm talking about. They love coffee, right? And they're going to be like, yes, I'm ready. And maybe, it takes a little bit of time for them to come around, but it's kind of the same thing. You have to keep at it with that relentless persistence of what you have to offer, and know that you will find people that want to join you. And also just remembering that a no is just an opportunity for you to add more value, or, depth. I don't even know I'm like fumbling on words, but depthen or strengthen the quality of that relationship, or kind of figure out what it is and why it would benefit them, and really build that trust and help them see what this could do for their life, right? And an objection is not a dead flat no. I was an objection for 4 months. I was one of those people that ghosted my coach every time she wrote me. I was like, yeah, send me a link. Bye. Didn't respond for 3 weeks. That was me. You have to be persistent and not give up on people, and know that a no is just an opportunity for you to really build more of a relationship and add more value. So with that said, a couple things that some of you had asked, basically what you're going to attempt to do is learn how to flip an objection and how to master it. So you're going to like it. To me, I think it's fun. I think it's fun to take an objection and flip it on its ass and say no. Yes, you can. Just like Kathy's getting at. But okay, so one of you said your issue is that you can't find the right people. So first and foremost, that is the beauty of coaching, and why every single one of us is different, why we are not really competition for each other, because your vibe is different, your story is different, why you love this is different, and the people you're going to connect to are different, as long as you are being authentic, right? So this is why it's important for you to shed all of those things that that no longer serve you, the limiting beliefs you struggled with, all of that stuff. As you dig into your personal development and find more courage to share authentically, you're going to start connecting to people that are more like you. That's why we talked about an avatar in this training and posted that exercise. If you didn't get a chance, check it out. But it's not that you can't find the right people. It's just that you have to be consistent long enough to find the right people, and authentic enough that you connect with the people that are like you. Does that make sense? So that's a myth. That is a myth, that you can't find the right people. The next one is someone's a gym goer. So they're a gym goer, so they couldn't benefit from Beachbody, right? We have a lot of people in our challenge groups that are runners or were gym goers. Just because somebody is a gym goer doesn't mean they're seeing the results they want to be seeing. It doesn't mean they have the support or accountability that they really need. It doesn't mean that they know what the hell to eat for nutrition, or that they're actually getting proper nutrition in their body. There are so many facets of Beachbody that it's really about finding what facet is going to serve that person's life. And maybe, all access could just be something that they have for a rainy day on a day they can't get to a gym, or on weekends when their kids are home and they can't make it, to their normal gym schedule, or so that they can cross train and increase stamina and whatever it is that they're doing with CrossFit or at the gym or whatever. But kind of finding where this opportunity can plug into the missing gaps of what they're missing to kind of live their best life, right? And sharing it that way. So just because somebody is a gym goer does not mean that they can't benefit from Beachbody. And also, I have to say that people that are already in love with fitness often become really great coaches because they're so passionate about fitness and lifestyle that those are people that could actually be advocates for this. And once in a while, you're going to get an objection because it's going to be like, well, I already got fit without Beachbody, so that's really not real if I start sharing that as a coach, right? But here's the thing, that 99% of people don't know how to be fit and healthy. So you have it all figured out, and that's great. But would you like to help other people figure it out and find that love of health and wellness like you have? Absolutely, right? And you can make a career out of it. Isn't that cool? Or a part-time job or whatever. It can be something, supplemental if that's a passion for them. The next thing, you have to be at your goal or your body weight to be a coach. We talk about this a lot in sneak peeks as well, but I have to say that the biggest thing that I tell people when they say this is that you are most relatable wherever you are starting your journey. I can tell you now, being as fit as I am now, I honestly have a harder time with people relating to me than I did when I wasn't in the shape that I'm in now, because it's almost like people can't see where you started at point A and now I'm way over here. And it's kind of hard to kind of bridge the gap of where I started, and I was depressed and I was unhealthy and, all of these things, to how the hell did you get to be this super consistent chick that has abs now, right? So people that are not in perfect physical shape or not at their goal weight yet or are struggling with consistency, they're fantastic freaking coaches because they're relatable. And just like we talked about with sharing the real things on social media, that's what people connect to. They connect to when you struggle and you show up anyways. They connect to when you fall off and you get your ass back on track because it matters to you. So really sharing that coaching is not about being perfect. It's not about perceived perfection. It is about you showing up and being on that journey and becoming something better and living a better life and sharing that. So anybody, anywhere on their journey can be an amazing coach if they have the heart and, the why for it. The next thing, fear of coaching. I think it was fear of coaching. I think that was how it's written. If this person is already a challenger, I would honestly suggest with starting to kind of have them perhaps start posting things in your challenge group as if they were a coach. Have them post something, 3 times a week for accountability, or say, can you help me, like and comment on people's posts in our challenge group, just to kind of see what it feels like, and maybe encourage them to share their transformation story on Facebook. I know I've had a handful of coaches that were legit terrified of coaching, and then posted their transformation on social media, and people went crazy. And then they were like, oh, there are people out there that need my help. And there are people that are actually watching me that would want to be a part of what I'm doing, right? Because I think that a lot of that fear is of the unknown. It's like you're at the edge of a cliff and it's like, oh my God, I have no idea what's going to happen when I jump. And it's terrifying, right? And if you can give them little bits of encouragement or things where they might see how it would feel if they were coaches, that it can often help them make that bigger leap, even just saying, can I pop you in my team page and pop you in a training and you can check things out, and no pressure. If it's not for you, that's totally fine. But how do you know unless you know? You know what I mean? Kathy or Laura, do you have anything to add to that one, fear of coaching?
Yeah, I was going to say, actually, at the beginning when I first started this, I added all those people to my team page just to kind of be like flies on the wall to the whole coaching piece. And over time, after watching, they became coaches and they were awesome at it. One last tip I wanted to say about this too is, if you have someone who just doesn't think that they'd be good at coaching, don't be afraid to reach out to your upline coach and get them on like a three-way call, just so that way the person can ask any kind of questions they want, get more excited about it. I want them to be excited about it and not nervous, because this is going to change their life. So that's another huge tip that I know my team uses that option a lot. And I'm always doing three-way calls with people. So don't be afraid to reach out to your coach too. Like, that's the beauty of this business, is that it is your own business, but you don't have to do this alone. There's tons of support.
Laura, do you want to add to that?
No, I'm good.
Okay. One last thing that I want to say about that is, I always kind of like to play the devil's advocate of what could coaching do for your life, basically, because I think this way because I was in such a desperate place when I started this business that if somebody, showed me what was possible and then took it away from me, I would have freaked out. So Kathy, actually, it's funny that you say three-way calls, because I was one of those people that my coach got on a three-way call with my uplines coach. And that was what helped me dive into coaching. So I just think that figuring out why this could benefit somebody's life, and just kind of saying, I know for me, it was the fear of my life staying the same was far greater than the fear of my life changing. And it was way scarier to think about being in the same place for another 6 months or a year than it was to do the scary things to actually make a change. So I don't know if that helps. And then the last one.
Oh, wait, I have one more thing to add. Sorry.
Oh, go for it.
It kind of goes with that whole piece there. But it's so true, guys. Any time in life in general, when you are going to try something totally new for the first time, it's scary. And your brain is just automatically conditioned to think about the things that could go wrong, the problems that could happen. And then that just produces more fear, and it gets you discouraged, and, will keep you more in your comfort zone. So trying to help that person, like Dana said, focus on the things that could go right. You're all worried that you're not going to be able to do X, Y, Z, or what about if you get into this and it works for you? Think about it that way, and just trying to help them kind of flip the switch to think more on how this can help them versus how this could hinder them,
You can also say the fear of what are you fear giving up? Because giving up things is definitely a fear, I think, for many, or all of us. And I think instead of thinking about what you have to give up, it's what do you have to gain from this? Okay, so you're going to have to give up Netflix, or you're going to have to give up binge watching, I don't know, whatever, Grey's Anatomy, or, you have to give up an hour with your spouse or your, kids or something to make time to get on a call like this, whatever those things are. Think about all that you can gain in your life by making small sacrifices that are not forever, right? The last one, and I think this is probably the most common one, and there's many ways to overcome it, and Kathy kind of talked about one of those too, but adding the value. But I don't have money, whether this is starting a challenge group or starting the coaching opportunity. And I will tell you that one of the best ways to overcome a money objection that you're getting for a challenge group is to invite somebody to be a coach. Took me a really, really, really long time to feel ballsy enough to do that, because I was like, yeah, I'm trying to help them get healthy and fit. And now I'm going to be like, hey, you want to start a business? But I will tell you that a lot of people don't really understand. I say, do you know that if you helped 3 friends or family members get started, that you could pay for getting your own journey started? Kind of if there's a will, there's a way. You can get started on your journey, and you help a couple other people. Because for me, when I started, one of my objections was money. I am a single mom, and I paid $180 for a T25 challenge pack, and it literally gave me the heebie-jeebies. But I helped 3 people or 4 people in that first week, and I made my money back, and I was on my journey. And then I was like, cool, I get to help people. This is awesome, So don't be afraid to say, I don't know if you've ever considered doing what I do as a coach, but you could help other people and earn some income. And I mean, the reality is, in that aspect, if nothing changes, nothing changes. we can't expect that one day we're just going to wake up and have a totally different life if we do nothing different, right? Whether it's fitness or financially. So give people that opportunity. You never know who's going to say yes. You never know who needs it. You never know what kind of a situation someone is in with that. The other side of I don't have money is more specifically with inviting to challenge groups. I think that it truly is like you need to be asking a lot of questions about people's goals first. So you need to be figuring out, like I have a list of questions that are saved in my notes section in my phone and on my computer. I ask them to every single person that I have talked to for 4+ years now. It asks, are they currently exercising? How much time do they have a day to exercise? Do they have any limitations? What kind of workouts do they typically like? Do they struggle with energy, mood, cravings, sleep, self-confidence, self-love, like all of that kind of stuff, because I want to figure out what it is that this could help them with. And there's no one size fits all with this journey, although a lot of our tools are the same, right? The reason why I helped, one person get started is entirely different from the next person, and it always is. So I think that you really have to figure out why it is that this is going to benefit them. Like, she has no idea how to eat. She struggles with her energy. She lives on coffee all day long. She has no energy to play with her children. Like those things that really truly impact someone's life in a really greater way, and learning how to speak to those of why nutrition is going to change their energy and their mood and their cravings and their why workouts are going to give them energy and help them have more body confidence and help them be able to keep up with their children, stuff like that. Because if you can really build that value and build it emotionally as well and kind of paint the picture of what this can do for their life, you'll find that you get less objections to begin with. But also you're still going to get objections. That's normal. There are some people that just are not ready. I mean, I was one of those people, again, that said no for 4 months because I just wasn't ready. And that's fine too. But keep following up with people. And also, I can second the feel, felt, found is one of the most profound things that you can start to use in your conversations, because a lot of times for me, it'll say, I know how you feel. I felt that way too. I used to go to the gym and drink these $6 protein shakes, and they always made my stomach hurt, and I hated how they tasted, and they did absolutely nothing for me. So I was a total kind of skeptic about shakes too. And it wasn't until I started drinking Shakeology and started to feel the difference in my energy and in my mood and in my mental clarity and in my sleep and my regularity. And, I had acid reflux. I don't have issues with that anymore because of how it's helped my gut health. But really building your story with fitness, with Shakeology, with the community, and eventually with the business, so that when somebody comes at you with an objection, you can use that and share your story of what it's changed for you, because people don't care about facts. People do not care if you can list the 4,000 ingredients in Shakeology, because they don't know what the hell they mean anyways. People do care how it makes you feel. Right? People don't care how fancy your workouts are, how awesome the moves are. They care how it's going to make them feel. They're going to have more energy. They're, like I said, going to be able to play with their children. They're going to be able to not, get sore and feel awful when they have to sit all day long at work. Like, there are so many reasons why these things are going to benefit their life beyond the surface value of what we're offering with fitness and nutrition, if that makes sense. And it's really kind of key to connect the dots of why this will do XYZ for them. And I can say that one of the best ways to overcome objections of Shakeology specifically, because I hear that one a lot for me, is I posted that video earlier in this training of Shay Sanford. It's about an hour long, but guys, like, if you're really in this business for the long haul, like, take the hour and listen to it, because if you can learn how to slay objections and really speak to the value of this, then it's going to make your life a lot easier in the long run. So make that investment of time now to learn. But with Shakeology specifically, whether it's too expensive, I don't like protein shakes, I hate the flavor, I've tried some before, I don't like them, I prefer to eat whole food, I don't eat anything, I don't drink my food, whatever. Like, there's so many objections for Shakeology, right? I can speak to the fact now, after watching all of the videos that I have watched, that most people have to eat 27,000 calories a day of whole food to get the nutrition that their body truly needs to feel and function its best, because of the way food is grown and processed now, which is virtually impossible, right? So people, sorry, people are not protein deficient, right? People are nutrient deficient. Meaning Shakeology makes this simple. They get a bag which has 30 servings. So literally, instead of thinking it's expensive, they get the healthiest meal that they couldn't find anywhere else for $3 and change a day. People spend more on that on a salad at a restaurant, right? So really building that value and helping them understand that when they put this dense nutrition in their body, that they're going to feel so incredible. They're going to be able to stay on track with their workouts. They're going to be able to follow their meal plan more easily. They're going to struggle with less cravings, mood, energy, etc. And like that breaks the vicious cycle. And to me, that's one of the biggest reasons why this is not a fad, because fad diets, when you cut calories, you cut nutrition. When you cut nutrition, you have low energy, you have cravings, you fall off, you binge, and you go right back in that circle of having to start all over again next Monday. So when people give me that objection, I'm like, let me explain to you why this makes a difference. And just trust me, try it for 30 days. It's a bottom of the bag, money back guarantee. If you don't like it, return it. And nothing happened, right? And I can tell you now that the only time I've ever had returns on Shakeology are for allergies. So be that confident about it. And I'm going to go now.
Okay, cool. I have a couple things to add before I let you guys go really quick. Just one thing, a couple things that work really well for me too. When Dana was talking about like Shakeology versus like other shakes, like you get people all the time who are like, oh, well, I'm drinking Herbalife or I'm doing this. And how does it compare to this one? And yada, yada, yada. The best advice that I can give you guys is to not try to convince them, to not try to, spout out all these different facts and all these fancy names and all these things like very like robotic and you copying and pasting from the Beachbody website and all that stuff. The best way to respond is with this phrase. And I use this all the time, and even for business opportunities. I don't know about that, but all I know is that since drinking Shakeology, I have been able to lose 35 pounds, get into the best shape of my life, feel better about myself, have more energy, get rid of my cravings, reduce the acid reflux, and I feel so much better about myself since drinking Shakeology. As a matter of fact, if I miss a day, I totally drag. I want to take a nap. It feels like a rainy day. I have the munchies. I'm in my pantry all night long eating. So I don't know about Herbalife, but I can speak to what Shakeology has done. So, like, that is the best phrase ever. I don't know about that. All I know is that blah, blah, blah. And bring it back to you again. That's all you're going to do. And you can do that for the business opportunity as well. And then the last couple of things I wanted to mention too, in terms of when people talk about, I don't have the money, always keep in mind too, guys, that people will spend the money on the things in their life that they consider to be a priority to them. And that's why sometimes you'll see people telling you no for like a challenge pack. And the next thing you know, you see them buying like fancy like purses or like all this high-end makeup. So you have to find a way. How can you get them to see, bye Dana, bye Declan, how can you get them to see the value in this, right? And then the last couple pieces is anytime I'm talking to somebody and they tell me that they don't have the money, it is an immediate, instant invite to the business opportunity. Because I remember what it was like to be broke. I remember what it was like to have no money. I remember what that was like. So when people tell me no, and guys, even at the beginning of this business, before I even made my first paycheck, or maybe I only made a couple, it wasn't much at the beginning, obviously. When people told me no, I still invited them to the business opportunity. I would say right off the bat to them, oh my gosh, you gotta become a coach. You need this, you have to do this. This is gonna totally change your life. I am in massive amounts of debt right now. I have nothing actually in my savings account. This is gonna change my life. It's gonna change it all around. Do it with me. Let's do this together. If I sent you a 45-minute recorded webinar that tells you more about coaching, would you take the time to listen to it? Or if I took the time to talk to you on the phone more about this with my upline coach, would you be interested in doing that? Or if I added you into a coach sneak peek so you could learn more about this business and see if this is something that you'd like to do with us, would you be willing to listen? Like, that's huge, guys. So have that confidence even before you make the money. Have that confidence and that belief that this is going to change your life around. And when people tell you no, that's how I say to them straight off the bat. Oh my God, girl, you absolutely have to do coaching. Oh my gosh, this is going to totally change your life around. Have you ever considered hearing more about it? Let me get you on a one-on-one call. We can talk all about it. You got to do this. I'm telling you right now, it's going to change your life. Like, you have to be talking, like, tell them you have to do this. Okay. And I found that giving them something to either watch or inviting them to something to learn more about it is so key. You know, it's different if you just kind of say to them, like, oh, like, have you ever thought about coaching? And they're like, nah, I don't think I know that. It just leads into more objections. But if you are the one dictating exactly what they need to do, like, hey, if I give you this recorded webinar that me and my coaches put together, they'll tell you a little bit more about this opportunity. Would you take the time to listen to it? Yes, absolutely. Boom, there it is. And then I always say, hey, so when should I check back in with you? When do you think you'll have the time to be able to listen to this? And they tell me, and then I check back in. Okay, so telling them that they need to, that business opportunity, giving them something to listen to, whether it's a one-on-one call with just you, a three-way call with you and your upline coach, a recorded webinar that your team has done, or inviting them to, which, by the way, we have a coach sneak peek Sunday night, guys, all of our teams, Sunday night, and invite them to that. Because honestly, I have found that the biggest objection that I get from people is I don't have the money. And I'm sure we could all relate. So, does anybody have any other questions? Laura, do you have anything you want to add to?
Both of my kids are in here now, so it's been a little bit of a I've kind of lost my train of thought. I'm sorry, I'm listening to you, but I do think sometimes for me with the money objection, I'll say things like, especially if I know it's somebody that like gets their nails done or does their hair, I'll say something like, oh, you know, I stopped getting my nails done and that saved me $60 a month. And then like, just try to like in a nice way, remind them of things. You know, people spend $160 or $180 on their hair color, like, no question, but then you ask them to spend it on their health and they freak out. So, shh, excuse me. Sorry, he fell asleep on the way home. That's why he's so fussy now. But anyway, yeah, I just try to like, and I'll say I felt that way too, but I found when the same kind of thing, like I stopped drinking Starbucks every day, which I was spending at least $4 a day on, you know, that kind of thing. And the feel, felt, found method I use all the time. I think I'm like going back in time with this right now, but yes, I'm gonna mute myself. I'm sorry.
Awesome, thank you, Laura. It is true. Feel, felt, found is exactly that. And just knowing where you're going before you're even there is so key, guys. You don't have to be making the money right now to have that confidence when you're talking to people. Like, you're gonna go, like, that's the direction you're going. There's no other way. And that's the way that you need to talk to people. So if they can feel that confidence and be like, I want to be going in that direction too. So I'm gonna let you guys go. Sunday night, we have a coach sneak peek. I am giving you guys the challenge to all of you. Get at least 3 people invited into that group. Don't just add them in, invite them in. But 3 people, you want to focus on building your team right from the get-go and finding other people who want to go out and help inspire and motivate other people to get started on their journey so that you're not an island. All right, so thanks for being on, guys. Have an awesome week and keep rocking it out in the group. Bye, guys.